Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us as always is Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yeah, I have a nasty feeling that I might be coming down with something, but we'll wait and see.
Well, this is what polaxed our last episode, wasn't it? I mean, we were meant to record, and I've had this horrible flu thing for ages. I'm just getting out the end of it now, and so sorry for the delay, but we are back with an episode I'm sure will delight you all, local news for local people. But I hope, Rob, and I'm sure all our good wishes to you to go out to say we hope that you don't get it.
I'm sure I'll be fine. Like I said, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it's nothing. I don't think it is, but we shall wait and see, Alex. I'm supposed to be going to Manchester this weekend, so that could be fun.
Can I just say, I always do this, Rob, exactly what you're doing. That moment where you realise you've got a sore throat and you convince yourself, maybe it's like tension in my shoulders or neck. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I'm sure it's not this, I'm sure it's not that. And it always is. But this time it might not be, Rob.
Exactly, Alex. As I said, we'll wait and see. Let's look past it for the time being and just focus on the podcast.
What are you meant to be doing in Manchester? You're going to the Skag Festival there?
No, as everyone knows, in Manchester, it's all about the spice.
That's it.
So, no, we're going up to see... So, two of my best friends are both having children very, very soon together. So, we're going to see them...
Not with each other, I assume?
No.
That would be a coincidence.
With their respective partners. And we've got a few bits and pieces that we bought them for the birth that we're taking up there. And also, we're going out to the Christmas markets on Saturday night.
The crisp markets?
Christmas markets.
I was going to say, crisp market sounds very dull. Well, maybe not, I don't know.
Does it? No, I love that.
For American
idea.
Listeners, we call what you call chips, we call crisps, potato crisps, Lay's, stuff like that. Over here it's called Walkers, that kind of gubbins. But yeah, it'd be amazing, you'd have a whole spread there, Rob. What's it? Skips, Monster Munch. I mean, Alex,
I would literally be in some sort of heaven.
Pringles.
I don't know if I've ever discussed this on the podcast, but I'm one of these people that's very much a savoury as opposed to sweet person, and I would always take a packet of crisps over a chocolate bar.
I'm both. I like savoury and sweet, and weirdly that you say that, one of the things I used to enjoy most as a kid, I don't do it anymore, but was the sweet and savoury mixture of having, Rob, a bag of crisps just ready salted with a Mars bar. Now, those two things combined were absolutely delicious. I don't do it anymore, but now I do only eat ready salted crisps. Do you know that? That's what I prefer.
That's very dull.
Not if you dip it in like hummus.
Well, no, okay, no, I agree with that. No, I'm quite adventurous. I love a new flavour of crisp, despite regardless of how disgusting it may be.
Rob, I'm really worried that, only a few short minutes into the podcast, we're losing listeners in our droves. This is a podcast about we report on weird, funny, sinister news, okay? And we've been doing it for 292 fucking episodes. Rob, is there any news before we get on and start reporting on this news?
Yeah, I mean, just to say that I finally remembered that Amy is from Long Eaton. No, she's not. She's from Langley Mill. She's from Langley Mill, not Long Eaton.
That's it. Like I'm pretending I remembered. That's it. Well, somewhere beginning with L, yes. Yeah,
exactly. So I just wanted to make that clear to our listeners.
Is that anywhere near Nottingham?
Yeah, it's not far away, actually. Yeah, it's relative.
Right,
it's in the vicinity. Okay. Also, I think the merchandise page of Faces Strange now features socks, which I have to say are very fetching. So if anyone wants to go and buy a pair of his socks to promote his cause, please do that. And I think that's pretty much it. I haven't seen any other significant news, but yeah.
People are all getting ready for Christmas, Rob. I mean, look, we talked about, there's a limited amount we can say due to legal reasons, but I really did enjoy that Prince Andrew documentary the other night. And you haven't seen it yet, but I loved the British public for going on, because his alibi was basically that he was at Woking Pizza Express, and you've got to love the British public who decided, you know what, we'll go on to TripAdvisor and we'll leave a lot of reviews on Woking Pizza Express, the kind of things that say, this is from Leo Mack, not my local branch, but I had a great alibi. Sorry, meal with my kids here in March. That kind of thing. Yeah. Impossible Place to Forget, all of that. Just brilliant. Very gallows humour, isn't it, Rob?
Absolutely. I mean, I was on there today, actually, and I'm very upset to say that I think Pizza Express haven't seen... actually, that's a good point, actually. I wonder what's happened there.
I thought they'd left them up.
I couldn't find them.
Maybe the royal family stepped in.
I think maybe TripAdvisor may have taken them down, but there were some fantastic reviews on there and so well crafted.
On the royal family, Rob, I would really like us, I'm sure there's a process you have to go through, I would like us to submit an application so that we can have that royal seal of approval crest above the podcast. You know, like where you buy a particular brand of ketchup and it will say, this is the one that's bought by the royal household, basically. This is the podcast that the royals listen to, Local Anaesthetic. The royal seal of approval.
I mean, that's a great idea, Alex. I wonder what you need to do to actually do that. I mean, I'm assuming it's just an application process. Maybe we have to submit some episodes to the Queen for her listening pleasure.
Yeah.
Maybe one of those that don't make us sound too much like royalists.
Well, she has an emotional support animal, doesn't she?
I mean, that's no way to talk about Prince Charles.
That was a joke I was going to make. Oh. Yeah, the corgis, Rob.
Yes.
The corgis, they're her emotional support animal. And talking about emotional support animals, I do have a brief story about one of those in a minute. Rob, before we move on to the stories proper, I don't know if you saw this. The news is moving so fast at the moment, it seems to pass everybody by. But this was this morning, and it was just a small thing from America that I loved. A Trump. We don't talk about Trump really on this podcast anymore. No. But I did love this. So basically, did you hear about this? So the North Korean leader, basically. North Korea has accused Joe Biden, who, as you know, is Donald Trump's likely competitor in the presidential race 2020. North Korea accused Joe Biden of having what North Korea writes is always brilliant. So this is in quotes, having the temerity to dare to slander the dignity of the supreme leadership. And what they said next was, Rob, rabid dogs like Biden can hurt lots of people if they're allowed to run about. They must be beaten to death with a stick. And what I loved is for the first time ever, we had a different Trump. And what he said on Twitter was, Joe Biden may be sleepy and very slow, but he's not a rabid dog. He's actually somewhat better than that. And that's the only time Trump has ever defended anybody.
Sorry?
That was it too far, that was for him.
What?
Yeah, for Biden to be told he should be beaten to death with a stick like a dog, like a rabid dog, Trump defended him in a backhanded way. He may be sleepy and very slow, but he's not a rabid dog. He's actually somewhat better than that. So maybe just a regular dog rather than a rabid dog.
But are you telling me that we finally found the line in the sand? This is what oversteps that boundary.
That's exactly. We finally found the line in the sand, and nobody's talking about it because the news cycle has moved on too quickly. So that is a shame. Now, Rob, we were just talking about emotional support animals, weren't we? And look, all my stories have a very international flavour. They will surprise you this week.
Right. Okay.
This is from the Grand Haven Tribune in Florida by Ryan Shepard. It's a very short story, but we do like our updates on emotional support animals.
We do.
The headline is Florida community disturbed by emotional support rooster.
Okay. Yep.
This is Jacksonville, Florida. Neighbours near Abe Court and Running River Road in East Arlington, Florida, a suburb of Jacksonville, have stopped setting their morning alarms, Rob. For the past few days, they've been woken up by the croaking of an Asian Hawaiian rooster that one resident is claiming is his emotional support animal. The community, Rob, is beginning to lose its patience. They say it'll go on for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds, then it will stop and then it will go right back. Freddie Pugnet told WFTV for a story. What's strange is the rooster is in the backyard. If this is his emotional support animal, why isn't it indoors providing emotional support?
I think that's a very fair point, to be honest.
Do you know why, Rob? Because that rooster needs a good runabout after a nice shag. That's why.
God. Is it possible to actually, once on this podcast, not, and not allude in some way the animal's been abused by its owner?
He might enjoy it.
Usually being sexually interfered with.
Well, Rob, after mounting pressure, not a euphemism, the owner of the rooster has agreed to release it. And this is the end of the story. He simply says to the owner, I love animals, said the owner, who was not named. That's why I let them stay around here. But if people are going to complain, I don't need him. I don't need the trouble. I love that. So this rooster, which is apparently providing you emotional support, as soon as somebody complains, you're like, I don't need him. Forget it. Can you imagine him just chucking the rooster out, Rob? How do you reckon he got rid of it?
I mean, he hasn't choked out, has he? He's cut his head off and eaten it.
Oh, yeah. That afternoon he was seen having a barbecue.
Yeah, that's what he's... But again, it just re-emphasises this whole
licking good.
thing. Because I do think there are people that generally do have this reliance on their pets, especially if they have anxiety issues. But I do think there's also a lot of chances out there, for want of a better word. I mean, again, it goes back to the fucking hamster, the emotional support hamster that got cast aside as soon as it wasn't allowed on the flight.
No, Rob, she flushed that hamster down the toilet with distress. Do you remember, like, crying? Although it's still a bizarre thing to do. Rob, talking of, like, barbecues and chicken and all those kind of things, this is a story from myrecipes.com. Not a regular publication of ours.
Sorry, I almost missed that. By myrecipes.com.
Yes, it's by Tim Nelson, and the headline is, "You can now eat fried chicken that tastes like girls' feet."
Oh, amazingly, I've heard this story.
Really?
Yes.
Where did you hear it?
I heard it on a podcast, and it's fucking bizarre.
You didn't hear it on this podcast when you did a jump to the future, did you?
No, Alex, we can't talk about that. You know, there's some things that have happened that...
What podcast was this? Stealing our stories.
That's a good point. What podcast didn't mention it?
Well,
so I listened to a
is.
podcast. Well, I think it must... I'm sure it's Podiots it's called, which is it's a podcast of this duo who run the... basically, it's a gaming channel, and they do their own podcast, and I've been watching
gaming?
Yeah.
As in computer games?
It's in computer games, yeah. But they do a lot of...
And you watch this, why?
Retro stuff. Because it's brilliant. Because they do a lot of... so not only is it live stream, but they also do like spin-off shows. They have a selection of different shows. And I have to say, what I appreciate is that they have a lot of the same comic references as us.
Do you play a lot of computer games, Rob?
Not really.
Right, listen, let me just do this fucking story, all right? Oh, Japan, when will your culinary wonders ever cease? From the far eastern country known for its occasionally eccentric approach to fried chicken comes a whole new... Can I just say, occasionally eccentric approach to fried chicken has to be the episode title.
Yeah, that is absolutely first class.
Thank you. Comes a whole new take on the dish, which is specifically engineered to be quite different from KFC Japan's recent low-odour approach. I need to check what the fuck that is right now. In Japan, KFC have some low-odour chicken. Here we go. KFC Japan sells low-odour fried chicken that you can eat on the subway. I understand. So it's been modified, Rob, so it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
Joining flavours ranging from curry to plum karagi, Japanese-style fried chicken, on takeout chain Tenka Torimasu's menu is their new Girl Soul variety. This fetish-inspired flavour claims to mimic the smell and stickiness of the underside of a young woman's foot, thanks to natto, a type of fermented soybean placed over the chicken. Can I also say, Rob, the underside of a young woman's foot is a very good episode title.
Yeah, but I'm worried that might attract the wrong crowd, Alex. Perverts.
Yeah.
Perverts and sexual deviants.
This chicken, Rob, will cost you £3.60.
Oh, that's not too bad. But I have to ask, who is... There is obviously a market for this.
Women's feet. Yes, Rob.
And I suppose that in some
like
ways... I do not have a foot fetish. I'd just like to put that out there. I have, as we've discussed in this podcast, many different fetishes, but that's not one of them. Yes, Alex, it looks like you're about to ask a question.
No, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say is I suppose in some ways by them doing this, it satiates. Is that the right word?
Satiates the urge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't really see how. But talking of perverts, Rob, I've got a story here from KSPR.com, which is a news outlet in Missouri. But you're wondering,
right.
Look at the work I've done this week, Rob.
That's impressive, Alex.
This is from the November the 8th by Andrew Havranek. Eldon, Missouri. Man arrested after breaking into store to save mannequins from sex trafficking. Take that headline in, Rob. Man arrested after breaking into store to save mannequins from sex trafficking. Okay, here's the story. He's the manager of Marty's Bride's Bar and Grill at the Lake of Ozarks. Saturday night.
Hang on, I'm already confused. He's the manager of where?
Marty Bride's Bar and Grill, which is the location of which is the Lake of the Ozarks, which must be a place in Missouri.
I thought this was some sort of wedding venue, which obviously it isn't. I heard the word brides. I thought it was a wedding venue as well as a bar and grill. Okay.
And his name, Rob, which goes on our list, is Mont Hardcastle.
Astonishing.
Can I just say, I want the surname Hardcastle. Alexander Hardcastle. I mean, it sounds repulsive in many ways, but it's brilliant. Who's going to mess with you? Hardcastle, right?
He does sound
Hardcastle. Rob Hardcastle.
He does sound like he should be an extra, or possibly actually maybe the star of some sort of 1980s action film. Mont Hardcastle.
Yeah. Well, Rob, on Saturday night, Hardcastle saw something new across the street. He says, "It was suspicious to me the way this man was acting, running around in front of the boutique, yelling and screaming and banging on the windows. The boutique, which is called My Dream Angels, is an adult store, and My is spelled M-I. My Dream Angels."
Why? Okay.
I don't know why. "It has several displays in its windows, including mannequins wearing different styles of lingerie." He said that so this is the Hardcastle. He said the man was saying that the mannequins were telling him they needed to be let out. Hardcastle recalled.
Oh, God.
Rob, this is the guy with Buddy again, the guy with the cat. The mannequins are talking to him, Rob, telling him, "We're being trafficked. You've got to let us out."
Alex, this guy was on meth.
Possibly. The man, identified now as James Isaac Short, then tried to break into the shop. So Hardcastle stood there in his bar and grill, Rob, watching him try the door several times. Then Short jumped onto a bench and kicked the glass window until it shattered. "I told my bartender to call the police, let them know I'm going to be over there holding this guy for them. That wasn't a fight," Hardcastle said. "It turned into a little bit of a fight, but it wasn't that way." So he actually, vigilante style, went and citizens arrested this man, Rob, while the police came. Hardcastle.
Like, of course he did.
By name, absolutely. By nature. Is that a phrase?
No.
But what would I be trying to say there? His name mirrors his
something
nature.
By name,
whatever.
something by nature. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Hardcastle says Short was halfway into the store when he pulled him out. "I had him on the ground and all he was doing was trying to mule kick me in the back while I was on top of him," Hardcastle said. "Two women then came over and sat on Short's legs until the police arrived."
Oh, he would have enjoyed that.
He probably did. According to court documents, Short caused well over $1,000 in dollars of damage, destroying a window, lighting and a security camera. The owner of the shop said she didn't want to talk about it.
I mean, you wouldn't do, would you? I mean, this man was obviously trying to. I mean, he claims that he was concerned they were going to be sold into sex trafficking, but let's face it, he was going to molest those himself.
Possibly. Hardcastle, Rob says, with his background in security, he had to do something. Of course he has a background in security. "It's somebody's business," Hardcastle said. "I'm not the type of person to stand idly by and watch something happen." Short is in the Miller County Jail facing property damage and burglary charges. Rob, this is like a modern-day retelling of the Good Samaritan. Isn't it? Man sees man on meth trying to break into a lingerie store to release mannequins from sex trafficking and intervenes because it's the right thing to do. They should update it. What would it be called? The Good
Security Guard?
No, the hard castle. That's what you call it.
The man in the hard castle. No. See, I'm now. I want to paint an image of Mont Hardcastle because I can imagine that he's obviously ex-Special Forces. I mean, that goes without saying.
It does. And can I just say, I'd like to just slightly adapt his name to Monty Hardcastle.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. So, he was in the Special Forces, but unfortunately he can't. He was discharged, but no one knows why. And then, he got involved with some bad people and then became part of I think it's some sort of like militia, like a private militia force.
Totally. And but his front is running a bar and grill.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. So he needs a legitimate front to this before he's shipped out to, I don't know, the Congo to take down some dictator, then return to sell mannequins to perverts.
Do you know what saddens me, Rob? If the two of us were both like really rich and didn't have to work and could just do this full time, we could literally fly to Florida, go to Jacksonville, go to his bar and grill and interview him. These are the kind of things that would be such fun to do. I mean, we could do that anyway, but it'd be rather expensive, use of our time.
Yeah.
But just that kind of thing. Or find Buddy. Go on a road trip to find what happened to the
Buddy's tell Alex. Buddy's
dead, but the guy who killed him isn't, Rob.
I think, to be honest, I think of all the people we've featured on this podcast, I think there's some names that I'd like to interview first. I think one of those is the guy with the natural collection of sex dolls, which he claims is just dolls.
And he lives down the road from my parents in Dorset, Rob. That's doable for us.
Alex, we don't need money for that. We just need your car.
That's true, but he has been interviewed already. I mean, that's the only thing.
But maybe we could join him for a Christmas meal. We could go. Yeah. We could do a Christmas interview with him and his dolls around a nice Christmas dinner,
or a fry-up, just for the bizarreness of it. Rob, look, I'm just going to finish now, and then I'm going to be done this week. I know I've been rambling on. This is another story, but you might want to interview this person, Rob. This is from Fox 10 Phoenix, Arizona, Rob, by Kelly Taylor Hayes, published 3 days ago in their Crime and Public Safety Department. Do I read the headline? I think I've got to. California woman claims man poured bucket of hot feces on her head. I have some really bad PTSD. Not feces, Rob. Hot feces.
Hot feces, which again really, really conjures an image. So is he maintaining that his PTSD resulted in him pouring this feces over this poor woman?
No, the woman's got PTSD following the feces attack.
Well, it would do.
Can I just say, Rob, this reminds me of when Robert Kilroy Silk. Do you remember when somebody dumped a bucket of slurry over him?
I do, yes.
There was a brilliant clip of it, and he went mental, grabbed the person, ran them up against the wall, and yelled, "You want shit, I'll give you shit." I believe that's the second time I've mentioned that on this podcast. Whatever happened to Robert Kilroy Silk, Rob?
I mean, he joined. What was his pie? It wasn't Respect, was it? That I can't remember what it was.
He, Rob, would go on Noel Edmonds' Pontin's Challenge.
Oh, yes, of course he would. Without a single doubt.
I think he might win it as well.
What, Alex, what was the name of his party? I want to keep thinking Dignitas, and it wasn't called Dignitas.
Brexit. No, not Brexit. He was part of UKIP.
No, but he had a party before that as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So,
without, do you know what? Without Robert Kilroy Silk, we probably would never have had Brexit. Robert Kilroy Silk, political party. You're right. He was around right at the beginning. Veritas,
that was it, yeah.
What a terror. Oh, God. Right, Rob, let's read about this shit. Los Angeles. Oh. Well, I don't know. I don't know where it's from. A California woman says she's been suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder after a homeless man, Rob, allegedly poured a bucket of hot diarrhea over her head near the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Right. This is my issue with this, right? Either it was very, very fresh out of his rectum, and that's why it was hot, or he's heated it up. Now that's the image to me. You get your bowl of diarrhea and you put it in a microwave because you want it to be hot. You want it to be
Alex,
burning. You don't just want
to.
You don't just want to pour feces over somebody's head, Rob. You also want to burn them.
Now, Alex, he's homeless. He hasn't got access to a microwave. He would have to have shit in a bucket, then made a rudimentary fire.
Left it in the sun.
Maybe left it in the. No, I don't think it would be hot if it was left in the sun. I think he would. He's obviously made himself a fire and then put the pot on top of it, and then when it was the right temperature, went out to find his victim. We've all done it.
Let's find out. Heidi Van Tassel said the incident occurred as she was leaving.
Sorry, Heidi Van
Tassel. Yes, right. That's her name, Rob.
It sounds like a stripper. Heidi Van Tassel.
Hey, whoa, Rob. Not everybody in Hollywood is a stripper. A lot of them are, but not all of them.
Yeah, true. Anyway, sorry.
She said the incident occurred as she was leaving dinner with her boyfriend and a friend in Hollywood a few months ago. Van Tassel said they walked to their car in a parking garage, and as they were doing so, she went to her parked car on Hollywood Boulevard that was about 10 steps away from the restaurant. I started to open up my car door and heard a swooshing sound and looked up, and there was this man standing in front of me. He said nothing and proceeded to physically attack me. He threw me in my car, and as I was facing him, I went to get up, and he pushed me down again, and then pulled me out by my shirt. The whole time saying nothing, Van Tassel said. I thought he was about to either kill me or try and rape me. And to be honest, Rob, this would have been truly terrifying.
Yeah, it would have been.
Instead, Rob, neither of those things happened. And Van Tassel claims the man poured a bucket of hot diarrhea over... Oh, God almighty.
That implies this whole thing was premeditated for him in order to do this.
Yeah.
This is bizarre.
Well, Rob, please listen to her description. At first, when it hit my face, it was really warm. Almost hot, so I thought it was acid, she said. He kept pouring it all over me as I started screaming for help. The man ran away and left her in the middle of the road. Her car door was still open during the attack, and the feces got into her car as well. I couldn't see because his excrement was pouring down my eyelashes, she said.
God.
So I was in the road screaming. Rob, please visualise this. In the middle of Hollywood, a woman is standing in the road with diarrhea streaming down her face and her eyelashes, screaming, while a man with an empty soiled bucket, runs away.
I feel I need to issue an apology. If anyone is listening to this podcast over a meal, maybe breakfast, you enjoy your bowl of cornflakes,
maybe a nice
stew. I mean, I can only apologise.
Nice beef casserole?
Yeah, or some chocolate sauce, anything that's brown, really. So I'd like to apologise for the image that we've now put in your mind. And
chocolate really, angel delight.
Delicious. Running down over your face, off your eyelashes, into your car.
So Rob, Van Tassel, who grew up in Wisconsin and Texas but now lives in Hollywood, said a couple from out of town stopped to help her and called 911. First responders had to remove her clothes and make a makeshift curtain against the fire truck to hose her down. Van Tassel was taken to Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital and tested for infectious diseases. She has to now follow up with testing every 3 to 4 months for the next 2 years, Rob.
Next 2 years?
Yes, she has to be followed up with testing every 3 to 4 months for the next 2 years to check she doesn't have infectious diseases.
Yeah, well, you can believe that, considering what's happened.
The man who allegedly attacked her was a transient, Rob, with schizophrenia and psychotic disorders, according to Fox News. He was charged with battery and taken to jail, but later found unfit to stand trial and released, according to the network. The attack has left Van Tassel emotionally traumatised and with physical issues. She says, I have some really bad PTSD that I'm dealing with. I'm scared to walk alone at night. I always thought PTSD was just for people who've gone to war, but this is a real thing for people who've been through traumatising things. I have flashbacks and a lot of nightmares. I just want to tell you, Rob, those flashbacks would have been of diarrhea being poured over her.
Again,
every time she takes a shit, she's going to be thinking of this, Rob.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just that. Every time she goes to unlock her car, there's a possibility she could be, reliving the moment of this attack again. Well,
she says, Rob, all the money that Los Angeles is getting for the homeless, where's it going? This man needs to be in a mental health care facility. The fact that the city of Los Angeles said that he wasn't fit to stand trial and then they let him back out on the streets is negligence and nonsensical. Right, it is. I want to know, Rob, how he heated up the diarrhea.
Alex, we've already covered this. I don't think
Rob,
he left.
You can't fit in Hollywood with a fucking stove, an open and boil a pot of diarrhea. That's not possible.
Of course you can.
Police. So how did he do it?
Or you need a back alley. You need a back alley behind a dumpster. You get some papers. You get some firelighters or a match. Job's good 'un. Alex, it's really quite easy to warm your own shit if you know how.
Good to know. Okay, Rob, you have some stories for us.
Yes, I thought it's about time we did a list. So, listicles, as they're often referred to, are, as we know, a staple of local news journalism. And this is from the Essex Live. This is from the 15th of November, so a couple of days ago. And the story is by Courtney Puchin and Joey Davies, who apparently is the multimedia reporter. So, fancy. So, the headline for the story is, the worst baby names of 2019 have been ranked by parenting site parents.com.
Rob. Is that one of them, Rob?
No, it wasn't, no.
Hardcastle.
Unfortunately, it didn't make the list either, which is really quite surprising. Can I just say, by the way, that parents.com sounds like a fucking dull website.
Not if you're a parent, Rob.
No, possibly not. Okay. Right, so, picking a name for your child...
Because I like to guess. The whole point of these lists is we guess. So what am I guessing?
You can guess. Let me just do the intro first, then you can guess. Picking a name for your child is one of the biggest decisions you have to make as a parent. As Johnny Cash sang, it ain't easy being a boy called Sue. And your choice of name could have a huge impact on the way your child grows up. Every year we see lists of the most popular names across the country, with this year being Oliver and Olivia for boys and girls, respectively.
Oh, God, and I hate those names.
I know. But it's Olivia Colman because of the Queen, and Oliver, don't know.
I think it's because I love olive oil, but I don't like olives. And I don't want something that reminds me of a food. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Olivia.
I mean, Olivia does. I do get that. Right. Let's just leave that there, because I think if I read more of the story, it's going to give it away. So, we are looking for the 10 worst girls' names and then the 10 worst boys' names.
When you say worst, do you mean the least popular?
No. So these are in their opinion, these are names given to children in the UK that have been registered in the UK and have been chosen by their parents. If you get any on this list,
and people have voted them as being like terrible names.
Yeah, well, as ranked by parents.com.
For a girl, Mercedes.
Very, very close.
Is it like a kind of? Is it a name of a drink or a car?
It
Porsche.
is a drink.
Drink.
No,
Chardonnay.
Drink. Chardonnay is at number 4.
See, I like that name. Okay.
Really? Oh God. Okay. do you want me to run down from number 10?
Well, I want to guess some more. Let me try and guess some more girl names. So terrible girl names. Are a lot of them named after brands, Rob?
No.
So are they named after people like celebrities?
There's some places in there.
Places?
Yeah. What else is in there? There is a brand there, I think, because at least that's the way it's spelt.
Chiswick.
I mean, no. I don't even know how to pronounce some of these.
Okay, come on.
Right, so number 10, Pansy. Number 9, Vegas. Number
Vegas.
8.
Wow, that's a great name.
Is it? Okay,
well,
number
in a
8.
comedy way.
Well, yeah. Number 8, Any, which just implies that they were in the registry office.
A-N-Y?
A-N-Y, yeah.
Fucking hell. Couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. It does literally. I'll just give it any name, and then Rachel Shaw's gone. Any it is then. 7 is
7.
No, Blakely. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Blakely. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Number 6 is Starlet. Number 5 is Kalassi. Number 4, as we've already covered, is Chardonnay. Number 3 is, I think it's Sensory. I think that's how you pronounce it. Number 2 is Mattel, as in the toy manufacturer.
Wow.
And number 1,
Barbies.
yeah, number 1, Shy.
I don't think that number 1's bad. Shy. What's wrong with that?
Really?
I think all of those were better than Olivia. Right, let's go on to the boys.
Okay. In at number 10,
no, hang on,
Styles.
I want to guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on then.
JD Sports.
No. Oh. Sorry, I'm looking at this list.
Feeler.
No.
Asda.
No. I don't think you'll get these. There are some great names. Number 10, Styles with a Z.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Number 9, Danger.
I want
8. 8, Cletus. Number 7, Xavier with 2 X's and
Beautiful.
a Y. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Number 6, Pinches.
Right.
No idea why. Number 5, Manson.
Manson?
Number 4.
Sorry,
Manson.
Manson? Well, after Charlie Manson.
As in Charles.
Okay.
Yep. Number 4, Axis, which I quite liked.
I like Axis. That's fine with me.
Yeah. Number 2, Cub, as in Bear Cub.
Nothing. I don't see anything wrong with that. What's number 1?
No, I've got number 2 is Yugo, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
And number 1 is King Messiah. All one word.
Well, again, all of those names better than Oliver.
Yeah, okay, fair. Right, now, my next story, which I'm hoping it's going to load, because it's just, oh, you bastard. Please go back. There we go. So I was asking about it to stay in my ad blocker. Anyway, so this is from the Denver Post. Where was this story from? So it's from the 30th of October. So it goes back a bit. The story is by Elsie Shemilza. And the headline: a SWAT team destroyed a Greenwood Village family home. Now, a federal appeals court says police don't have to pay for the damages.
Okay. All right.
So, during a 19-hour SWAT operation in 2015, police tore out nearly every window of Leo Letch's Greenwood Village home and reduced much of the interior to rubble.
Why?
Because they were tracking down a suspect who had unfortunately broken this poor guy's home, and then
you don't raise his. You don't. All you do is surround it and wait for him to come out. You don't break down the house.
Well, this SWAT team disagreed. In some
I
spots,
cannot believe this story already. If you're telling me they don't have to pay for this, sorry. Keep reading. I'm incensed, Rob.
In some spots, the damage was so severe the wooden frame of the house was exposed. But the city won't have to pay any of the damages that the officers caused, even though Lech had no connection to the shoplifting suspect who chose his home as a hideaway from pursuing police, according to a Tuesday ruling by the Federal Appeals Court.
What?
So, the police were acting in their lawful duty to arrest a crime suspect and thus are not liable for the damage caused to the other property, even if the property owner had nothing to do with the crime at hand. Sorry.
So you're trying to catch a really dangerous terrorist, and you know he's hiding out on a suburban street. You drop a bomb on the street, kill everybody, raise it to the ground, and you're not responsible. You don't have to do anything.
No,
right.
It's completely lawful. They were acting within their lawful duties to try and detain the suspect.
See, this is why I think being a policeman in America would be quite fun. You can literally do anything.
Yeah, just do what the fuck you liked and apparently get backed by the courts. The decision is the most recent result of 3 years of litigation connected to the raid, though Lech could appeal Tuesday's decision to the US Supreme Court.
Do it, Lech.
Yeah. Lech's insurers, however...
I think his name really should be on the list, Rob. Lech, not great.
Well, no. Lech's insurers, however, did pay the family $345,000 for the damage to the house, and Lech rebuilt the home according to a statement from the Greenwood Village City Attorney, Tonya Haas Davidson. But the amount was not nearly enough to cover all the costs associated with the demolition so basically, they had to raise the house to the ground and then rebuild it. It was that badly damaged.
All because of a fucking shoplifter. Sorry, this man wasn't a murderer, Rob, or he wasn't like a terrorist with a suicide bomb strapped to his. He was a shoplifter. What had he done? Stolen some Cheetos from the local convenience store, and they destroyed this man's house to get him. Does it say what he stole?
I don't think it does actually. No, he just says shoplifting. So they anticipated that the damage to the house, including the rebuilding, came to £580,000. And the Letches had to take out a £600,000 mortgage. But like I said, the insurer that did give them £345,000. But
that's all very well. That sounds good that the insurers came through. But he's going to. Can you imagine what his premium's going to be now?
And also, there's a massive shortfall. I mean, he still then has to pay off what? If I can get my maths right. So £265,000 himself. Police also caused about £70,000 worth of damage to the house next door. And the insurance refused to compensate the homeowner, but the city only offered £2,000, Maxim said.
So does it say what they were doing for 19 hours? Because it literally sounds to me like they were firing cannons at the house. I mean, to cause this much damage, what the hell were they doing? Normally when you see this on TV or in the movies, they surround it, they have the standoff, with a megaphone. Come out with your hands up! Or, you have a negotiation, they ask for a helicopter, you tell him to fuck off or whatever. 19 hours
I've got
siege,
the details.
And then what the fuck?
I've got the details here of what happened.
Yes.
So, on June 3rd, 2015, SWAT officers swarmed the Letch's house on South Alton Street in Greenwood Village looking for Robert Seacat. Again, great name.
Brilliant.
Aurora officers tried to contact Seacat earlier that day for alleged shoplifting, but the man fled and randomly chose Letcher's home as his hideout. Seacat also had multiple felony arrest warrants, has Davidson said, who's the defendant. For 5 hours, officers tried to persuade Seacat to surrender. Seacat fired at least one round at police cars outside the home and multiple rounds after police entered the home.
This is why, Rob, you don't shoot at police. If you do that, you're a dead man.
Yep. So, when negotiations failed, police started an assault on the home. The officers breached the doors with an armoured vehicle.
Hang on, Rob. When negotiations failed, they carried out a controlled demolition on the house.
They launched a small nuclear attack.
This is a brilliant example of things escalating very quickly. Okay, what did they do, Rob?
So, when negotiations failed, police started an assault on the home. The officers breached the doors with an armoured vehicle and used explosive to blast holes in the wall.
You do understand, Rob, that breaching the doors with an armoured vehicle literally means driving a heavy-duty artillery vehicle just through the front of the house.
It's effectively just driving a tank into the side of someone's home.
Yeah.
They then flung tear gassing canisters inside and fired 40mm rounds at the house.
Can I check the owner of the house wasn't inside with this guy, was
No,
it?
thank God. Thankfully, he wasn't, no. After 19 hours, which I think you mentioned amazingly. So this is a 19-hour siege.
No, I didn't guess that. You said it at the beginning. I don't want to take credit.
I did. Oh,
for that.
Sorry. After 19 hours, police arrested Seacat, but Letcher's home was left uninhabitable according to the lawsuit.
Imagine this guy standing out on the lawn in his dressing gown. Guys, where am I going to sleep? Not our problem, bud.
Just left it.
And they just drive off. One day you've got a house, the next day you've got nothing.
But it's amazing. I would also urge people to Google the story because just to see the damage that this has been left.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Give me the headline.
I think if you just put SWAT team, maybe I think this is Colorado. Maybe appeal courts, compensation, something like that.
Family outraged by SWAT destruction of the home. There's videos as well. Fucking hell. Do you know what it looks like? You know when they go after those cults and they destroy the compound where they are? It looks like that, the aftermath of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's effectively what's happened. So, the story goes on to say, almost all the belongings inside have been damaged and tear gas canisters remain lodged in the walls. The Lech team family later found 2 needles filled with what they believed to be narcotics in the rubble. Seacat had been using drugs while hiding in their home, which is even worse.
Can I just say, Rob, I'm in love with this man's name. It is Seacat, Robert Seacat.
Yeah, it is Seacat, yes.
I don't know why, Rob. I want to be a Seacat. It sounds like it should be a. It sounds like it should be an offshoot TV show of Thundercats. They need to make it now. You call it Seacats.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I feel really sorry for this guy. Like I said, this happened in 2015, and 3 years litigation. Well, 4 years now, and he's been turned down again. So, yeah. So,
I just want to know what he shoplifted. Like, is it literally like... it should just say at the end of the article, he was fleeing after shoplifting a bag of
Cheetos.
No, I said that earlier, but, just something really, really random like peanut M&Ms, or just something very, very trivial. What's the most trivial thing you could think of to steal?
Box of plasters.
A box of Elastoplast.
And it resulted in a man's house being,
or
destroyed.
something ironic, like the man stole. It's one of these convenience stores that have magazines and stuff, and he stole a copy of How to Build Your Own House Weekly.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if he left it in the house, that would have come in handy.
Okay, Rob, it is time for our listener story of the week. Who's it from?
So this was sent in by Jack. It's from the Birmingham
Jack
Live
from Todmorden,
website.
who's somewhere else in the globe at the moment.
Correct. The story's by
Maybe that was
James
Jack who
Roger.
broke into that place to release the mannequins.
Could be. I mean,
He feels so terrible about all the exploitation he's wrought across the world on his sex tour that he now wanted to release these mannequins to freedom. Sorry, Jack, I'm really besmirching your name there. I just want to be clear. I don't think Jack has exploited anybody, ever. Now or in the future.
But, if it was him, I mean, he's obviously given these mannequins a new life. They could, pursue careers as dummies in Topshop or somewhere similar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the story is by James Roger, who apparently is the head of trends, from the 12th of November. And the headline: KFC customer furious after shitface written on top of gravy pots.
It's the second KFC reference we've had this week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. A dad got into a flap when he bought some KFC chicken wings and found the word shitface.
Can I just tell you something, Rob?
Yeah.
Outside my local train station, as soon as you leave it, so you press your oyster on the oyster reader, there's a public bin on the street outside. And for the last 2 years, there's been a sticker on top. In the bit of the receptacle, it's like a small sort of ashtray-sized receptacle for like bottles to go into. Somebody's put a sticker. It's very well printed. It's got an arrow pointing down into the hole, and above it just says "Come." C-U-M. And that's been there, Rob, for 2 years.
Alex.
And it really isn't. It's not a nice image when you come out the station, Rob.
No, but why, when talking about a customer who's obviously been offended by KFC, did that come to mind?
Because you said shitface was written on the top of his gravy thing, and it reminded me of another thing that I saw inappropriately written on top of another thing.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah, okay, fair enough.
And also, I associate KFC with women's feet, and that makes me sexually aroused, so that's why we talked about it.
Well, that's reassuring to know. So, a dad got into a flat when he bought some KFC chicken wings and found the word shitface typed across the gravy pots.
Got into a flap, Rob. You see the pun there?
Yeah, it's clever.
Hang on a minute. What paper is this from?
This was from the Birmingham Live website.
Good, right.
So Carl Francis Cooper, 38, popped into a nearby branch while on his lunch break to grab some grub. Civil enforcement officer Carl waited around 30 minutes for his £8 order and rushed back to the office with his meal and sides of gravy. But he was shocked to find the sticker with the word shitface printed on both gravy pots, he said. Carl from Chesterfield said
Rob, you've just answered the mystery.
What's that?
The homeless man in Hollywood was gifted by a kind person some little tubs of KFC gravy, and he mixed it with his own diarrhea, thus warming up the diarrhea. It was a mixture of KFC gravy and diarrhea.
I don't know why.
Which aren't that indistinguishable anyway.
No, true. But in some ways,
I take that back. I take that back.
I was about to say, in some ways, that just sounds worse, and I don't quite know how. So Carl from Chesterfield has slammed the fast food chain for providing £10 compensation, branding the gesture a slap in the face. Is it just me, or do I? That seems okay to me.
You'd be quite happy with that, Rob. That's your Christmas meal sorted.
But I mean, I appreciate it's offensive.
Sarah, KFC's on me. They called me a shit face. I got a free meal out of it.
That's okay, isn't it? It's £10.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty obscene to be called shit face on not just one, Rob, but two gravy pots.
I was really shocked to see that random and pleasant word printed across the top of my sides after waiting so long for my lunch. Even if it wasn't meant for me.
Can I just say, that random and rather unpleasant word printed on top of my sides is a very good episode.
Yeah, true. Even if it wasn't meant for me and the guys behind the counter were just bored or had meant it for someone else, it's just not on.
No, it was meant for you, mate.
It was obviously meant for you.
What I would have loved if, the compensation letter, it comes through from KFC, it's a letter and there's a voucher inside, and it just says, it's the complete, all the spiel about, we're very sorry, but it's headed, dear shitface.
I love that. And then at the bottom, they just attached a check entitled to Mr. Shitface. I nipped out for lunch to the closest branch, minding my own business, and ordered some chicken wings. Oddly enough, I didn't think of getting sides, then saw the advert for gravy, and I thought to myself that I would spice it up. I waited for 20 minutes, maybe even 35 to 40 minutes for my lunch. What?
That's an unbelievable amount of time to wait. I had a similar experience in McDonald's recently. It's not on. This is fast food. That's the fucking point of it.
See, I'm wondering whether he was starting to get really irate in that time. Because he goes to say, I was in a bit of a flat by the time my order came.
Yeah, but Rob, where are these stickers that exist with shit face written on them?
What?
Maybe Face the Strange sells them in his merchandise store. I have no idea. But where are these things? Where do they exist?
There is a...
KFC used to have a stack of shit face, cock breath.
No, I assume that what's happened is when someone's taken the order, you know, they needed something to identify him by, and so shit faces came to mind, and obviously been printed on the tubs.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so you've been waiting about 40 minutes. So I was in a bit of a flat by the time my order came. So I had to rush back to work, meaning I didn't see shitface printed on both gravy pots until I sat down ready to eat. It really took me by surprise. I was there trying to think back on the whole occasion and work out if I'd done something to deserve it. Truthfully, it probably wasn't meant for me, but they should be more careful.
No, it was meant for you. It was absolutely meant for you, mate. I don't know why I know this, but I just do. I have a sense.
Yeah.
Rob,
let's leave that there.
We are rapidly running out of time. And we've got, on that bombshell, whatever, on that shit-faced gravy pot, we bring this episode of LA Podcast to a close, and we do look forward, both of us, Rob, with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation, to our next episode, which will be episode 284. Oh, shit. As we move ever more forward... Oh God, we've had such cracking stories this week. What are my stories? As we move ever more forward, like a man who shoplifted a copy of How to Build Your Own House Weekly, on run from the police, broken into a random person's house, endured, Rob, a 19-hour siege where he's been persuaded to come out, but hasn't done that. Has instead decided to fire shots at the police, only to have a SWAT team pretty much demolish the house and refuse to pay any reparations. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 294. As I say, we're on our website, lapodcast.net. You can download all of our previous episodes for free. There's a donate button if you're in that Christmas spirit and you want to donate to the. I'm going to be honest, not enough people are donating, Rob. We have very few donations, considering everybody gets this for free. We could do with some, but those people who have donated, we very much appreciate it. Rob, you look like you want to say something?
Just as you mentioned that, I realised that we had actually had a £10 donation. I haven't had a chance to email the person back who for just basically thank them for the donation. But yes, someone has very kindly donated within the past fortnight.
I think you deliberately don't tell me about the donations, Rob. You take out the money and you siphon it off for your lavish lifestyle. Because otherwise I have no way of knowing.
But how else am I going to buy my KFC?
We're on Twitter at LA Podcast. We're on Facebook.com/LA Podcast. We are on Spotify. Yes. Go to your podcast app. We're there. But, I mean, obviously you've downloaded it from somewhere. Wherever you've downloaded it from, if it's a podcast app, hit subscribe. Leave us a review. We do really appreciate it. Even if I sound like I don't appreciate it, I actually do. Rob, we always spell out at the end of every episode how to spell the word anaesthetic. It's a complicated word to spell. The English spelling, it's different than the American spelling. Got an extra A in there, and we spell it out according to a theme. So we spell it out phonetically. And our theme this week, Rob, is...
Well, I know we can't ignore the fact that Christmas is fast approaching. So I thought this week we could spell it out using gifts for elderly relatives.
What was our theme last week?
I've literally no idea.
But it was something Christmassy, wasn't it? Or how can we forget?
I've literally no idea.
No, yeah, Christmas themed food, wasn't it? We was talking about things like nog and.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was.
It might
foods.
have been.
How can we not remember,
Alex,
Rob?
A lot has happened since then. You know, there's been some rain. Trump's getting impeached.
I'm sure it was some Christmas-themed objects
it might
or something,
have been.
but whatever. You're saying things you buy for relatives.
No, very specifically elderly relatives.
Why elderly?
I think that it would really sort of channel our creative juices towards, you know, very specific gifts and not just say, you know, crab meat.
But my elderly relatives are dead, Rob, and this is bringing up
not those
painful
ones,
memories
Alex.
for
You
me.
know, the ones that are still living.
I don't have any that are still living.
Well, you know, but
that are elderly. Oh, no, I do. No, that's not true. Sorry, that's not true. That's very unfair. I actually do. I mean, I could count all of them as elderly, depending on where you put the cut off. I apologise to all those relatives.
And the difference is where I legitimately don't have any elderly relatives. Mine are dead. But, I can move past that.
You're right, Rob, and you're just shaming me now into doing this. So I'll start with A. A for anaesthetic. First letter. Something I buy an elderly relative. Anorak.
Absolutely, yeah. H, well, I mean, it's cold.
H?
I'm so tired. I'm sorry. N. Well, let's face it. The elderly relatives, they love...
Nipple clamps.
Maybe. I mean, what do they love more than a nice Neil Sedaka CD?
Very good.
It is.
It A again? A nice tube of anusol for
Of
those
course.
piles you get at this time of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. So E is always the difficult one, especially when it comes to elderly relatives. But
No,
they
an Easter egg, just to confuse them.
so
Imagine I'd want to do that for somebody, a Christmas present, and they open it, it's an Easter egg.
So you're trying to mess with your elderly relatives, possibly with dementia, by saying "Happy Easter, Granny."
No, you don't say Happy Easter. You do say Happy Christmas, but then you make clear that this also counts as Easter.
Okay, all right, yeah. So E, Easter egg. Yours is S then.
Oh, sorry, it's me. Yes. S.
I mean, you've overlooked the most obvious thing, because they're elderly. We're concerned about their veins, so they're going to need support stockings.
You're obsessed with fucking pantyhose stuff. You mention it almost every time.
Alex,
Okay,
I'm just concerned.
What's no? You're not. Look, Rob. You got a problem. What's next?
T.
But it's you. You're T.
Oh yeah. So so they can live the days of their youth, which are now very much behind them. I think that they would really appreciate a voucher to at least 5 tango lessons.
Okay, H, a hand shandy for Grandad from the local massage parlour.
Sorry, hang on. Are you
One
offering?
hand shandy, that. Huh?
Are you offering?
No, I said from the local massage parlour.
I'm sorry. I really thought you said in the parlour.
Hey, Grandad, here's a hand shandy from me. Fucking hell, mate. No.
I really
From that
thought
mannequin
you said...
place. From that mannequin place down the road.
I just thought it's a lovely gift, Alex. Maybe Grandma's passed on, and he just wants some relief at Christmas.
Oh, Rob, stop, mate. This is not right. Both my granddads are dead.
Mine too. Anyway, so E. Okay. Well, what can we say? I mean, we know that old people love jigsaws, and what jigsaws do they love more than exotic Sahara Sea? Not Sahara.
An exotic Sahara themed jigsaw is your answer.
Right. Yes, it is now.
Tea. It's a good episode title, by the way. Well, actually, tea. I mean, that's what they want. Tea. Lots of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's face it, they're lonely, they need company. So I think what better thing to get them than an iPod?
Touch.
To fill in the
You're
silence.
getting them an iPod? That's quite an expensive gift, Rob.
Well, not second hand.
What about an igloo trinket? Because they like those little sort of trinket things they can put on the shelf.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But I don't know. There's something about a second hand iPod, maybe with someone else's music on it, that just really appeals to me.
Those Neil Sedaka albums, they can put that on there.
Absolutely.
And C, I'm not going to do it. Obviously, crab meat springs to mind. A tin of crab meat for Christmas would really, I think, confuse them. But they'd be quite. I think they'd be quite appreciative of that, Rob. Some crab.
I think
meat.
they'd like that. Yeah, but I think maybe it's Christmas, Alex. I think we need to bump up it. Maybe a tin of caviar because it's Christmas.
A bag of cockles, I quite like.
Are we back to the hand shandy again?
Or just some cranberry sauce.
just cranberry, some cranberry sauce, not in a jar, just in wrapping paper. just spooned into the wrapping paper. Here you go, Grandad. Enjoy.
Yeah, you take this down to the masseuse, and it will make the hand shandy more relaxing.
Exactly, and and it'll smell nice afterwards.
Yeah. A cranberry hand shandy.
I mean, we've got some great episode titles, but there's another one.
There needs to be that in a car. A cranberry hand shandy coupon. That's a nice idea. You're right. Gifts, sexual favour gifts for elderly people who don't have anybody else. You have a book of vouchers, not from relatives, Rob, but you have to go somewhere to claim them. There's somebody who does them specifically.
I mean,
you don't think of any more. I mean, it's really
no, but I can imagine that already exists somewhere in the world. If you thought about it, someone's doing it.
Very true, Rob. Well, you'd be surprised. Some things I think about, but I mean, I don't know. Okay, Rob, we're literally about to end. Thank you for listening, everybody. God bless.
And keep it local.